Time to check in again with Andrew Bolt. He is in Israel. He's been bringing us some amazing exclusive footage and information. Now, yesterday, Andrew was at the Lebanon-Israel border. He met with a general there, saw firsthand the war with Hezbollah in action. And I can say that the media, Reuters in particular, were reporting this morning in the broadsheet newspapers here in Australia that attack on those two Hezbollah vehicles that Andrew showed us vision of yesterday. Andrew joins us again from Israel. What a remarkable scene where I can see you standing, Andrew.
Yeah, look, it's important for me to come here, Steve, because I see that the Melbourne Writers' Festival is perpetrating this hoax, this fake history that is leading to demonstrations in the street. You've seen the merging of the Aboriginal and Palestinian causes as if they're one. And we've now had the the deputy chairman and the head of the Melbourne Writers' Festival resign because it's been hijacked. They're pushing the line that Israelis, Jews, are colonists, colonialists in this country, that somehow Palestinians were here first and these wicked Jews came and took it all over. Well, this spot where I am now puts the light of that, Stephen. You will see the Jews first built at this place. I'm at the Western Wall. In this place, 12,000 years ago, the first synagogue, right? Then an army came out of Iraq some 1,600 years ago, 2,500 years ago, and destroyed it. After 70 years, the Jews were able to come back. They built the second temple with the Holy of Holies in it. So that this is the closest they could get to the Spirit of God. But then they were conquered again by the Romans, and 70 AD, 70 years after the birth of Christ, it was pulled down, destroyed. The second temple destroyed, and the Jews scattered. This is all that remains of that temple, this Western Wall. And you see Jews praying there every day. That's how close they get to the Holy of Holies at the Western Wall. Up the top is a mosque now. That was built just after the invention of Islam. We're talking about 700 AD, after the birth of Christ. This tells you Islam came after the Jews. That's the old bit there. The idea that Jews are colonists, colonialists in this country, displacing Muslims is put to the lie right here. And I just can't believe that the Melbourne Writers' Festival is supposed to be intellectuals, we know about the truth and all that, could say something so stupid as to make Jews seem like newcomers to this land where they've been for 12,000 years.
An incredible illustration of living history, Andrew. It's just, you can feel even from where I am this distance away how important that place is. And, I really appreciate the fact you've made the effort to go there. I don't want to upset you again. I don't want to make you angry. I know that you're there, witnessing history. But I want to play you a clip from your mates at the ABC this morning, one of Victoria's most prominent Islamic leaders, who was labelling Hamas's October 7 massacre as, quote, a legitimate act of resistance by the Palestinian people. Have a listen and a look at this.
It is absolutely legitimate for the Palestinians to try to break the siege of Gaza.
No, I'm talking about October the 7th.
As I said, I'm not going to condemn the Palestinians for resisting. I'm not going to condemn the Palestinians for trying to break their siege on their territory.
Sorry, I just want to be clear. October the 7th, You're saying you won't denounce that?
I denounce any violence against civilians. That is clear.
1,200 people died.
We denounce, very clear, Patricia, we denounce any violence and killing of civilians. But what we don't denounce very clearly is legitimate act of resistance. And for the Palestinians to rise up on October the 7th and say, we're no longer going to tolerate this siege, this occupation, that's legitimate. Now, if they've done things that is against international law, then they should be held to account for that. I don't think we can be any clearer than that. But they have a right to resist.
Honestly, I don't mean to be rude and interrupt, but are you honestly saying that the October 7 event was the Palestinians rising up It was a terror attack, wasn't it?
Well, that's the way it's been. That's the way it's been categorised.
Well, that's Adele Salman, Andrew, and he used the word legitimate there. You're there on the ground. You've been to these killing spots where this terror attack took place. How angry does that make you feel? And imagine if you played that to the people you've met this week.
I'm just staggered, the inhumanity of a man like that. And unfortunately, he's the leader of the Islamic Council of Victoria. Can you imagine what's being discussed in mosques and all that? If that's an example, mate, it's not just the people I've talked to, it's the video I've seen. I want to ask him, was it legitimate for 3,500 Hamas terrorists to go on a killing spree, going house to house, shooting dead old people, young people, babies? Is that legitimate? Was it legitimate to rape women and to kill them after raping them? A footage I saw of a woman who'd been raped so badly, there was blood. Apologies for being graphic, but you have to be. Raped so badly, you could see in the film that Hamas took themselves, blood soaking her crotch. Is that a legitimate act of resistance? I want to ask this man, which particular acts here does he think were legitimate? The killing of babies, burning of bodies, shooting of civilians, raping of women, massacring of women, exactly what? I talked to the head last night of the group set up to help the hostage families and the hostages. And he tells me there is still about 15 women hostages kept in Gaza. The reason they have not been released so far, he doesn't want to say so publicly, specifically, they're a family here. But let me say it, a number would have been raped, and Hamas doesn't want to let them go to let them tell their truth to the world. Which bit of this does this man, a man is flattering him, almost an animal, I would say. This man, which bit of all that does he think is legitimate?
And you wonder, how he gets away going on the ABC and saying that. I mean, to her credit, I guess Patricia Cavalis tried to pull him up. Let's go back to the situation today. There are reports that Iran and Hamas are planning to use Ramadan next month to, quote, create another October 7 attack. Have you heard anything about this? What intelligence are you hearing about what might happen next in the region where you are?
Well, this is, again, a really important site from that point of view. The mosque up there, you might see just a tiny bit of gold poking up a little corner there, around there. That's the third holiest site in Islam, right? So the Muslims came here, they saw it was a holy site, they thought they'd put their mosque up there, supposedly where Muhammad went to heaven from this spot. And Ramadan is very important. A lot of Muslims here, they come here to pray, and the Israeli government is terrified of what might happen, because there's been times they've thrown rocks down there, the worship is here, and it's just, tensions get very high. Muslims don't eat during the day in Ramadan. And they've been trying to think, who do we limit? Do we limit people from outside Jerusalem, Muslims to come here? Do we limit young men to come here? A big debate about that. And so this could be one of the big flashpoints, because when this happens, Muslims around the Middle East say, Al-Aqsa, this is Al-Aqsa, is a threat. We got to rise to defend it. And that is the big issue for Israel.
Extraordinary stuff, Andrew. Extraordinary scenes that you brought to us tonight. Thanks a lot. Look after yourself. We'll talk tomorrow.
A pleasure. Thanks, Steve.